but you're going nowhere. Don't blame me for what you've done, because I know that you were having fun.
Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast, exposing the real estate secrets your agent doesn't want you to know. Here's your host, Tom Clary.
Well, don't you just walk away. That's when I'll say.
Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast. I'm Tom Clary, and I'm your host. I'm a real estate agent here in the beautiful state of California, Los Angeles to be exact. Our good friend Ron Bruno will not be with us today, but I had a topic that I really wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, that I want to get off my chest. I think it's important enough to get on here outside of our normal format and discuss. I've been getting this single question over and over again over the last few months, and I thought it was important enough to come on here and discuss something that I keep hearing over and over again. And the question is now the right time to buy? Or, and put it in more of a statement, I have decided that I'm going to wait in order to buy. Now, here's the thing. We've been doing these lunch and learns all around Los Angeles at the WeWorks all around Los Angeles. And by the way, these are really valuable resources. If you're a freelancer and you're thinking about potentially buying a home in the near future, we give you guys a lot of good information that freelancers can use to overcome certain barriers that are put in front of them that are, it's kind of different than just your average home buyer. But this is something that I hear a lot at these lunch and learns, where people are saying, I want to get my credit better, or I want to save more of a down payment before I do this. And please understand, there's a part of me that is so grateful to hear that, because it really makes me feel good that folks are trying to do things the responsible way. And that is fantastic. That is the crux of everything I'm trying to do with this podcast, is to educate folks so that they make the right decisions, that they're not just kind of, being led by realtors, by other real estate professionals, lenders, to just get into the sale. I want them to really dig deep and understand the process. That being said, we're butting up against something that's got me kind of conflicted, and I wanted to talk about it today. And that's that we're dealing with the reality of a real estate market that may not wait that long. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's discuss a little bit about what the real estate market is doing right now. Let's just start with a snapshot of that. Inventory is incredibly low. Okay, our supply, as you understand the concept of supply versus demand, supply is incredibly low. At the end of October, the National Association of Realtors said there were only about 3.9 months of inventory left out on the market. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that, let's just say that if no other houses came on the market, like as of now, it would only take 3.9 months to sell what was left. Okay, now that's nationwide, so I would expect that even here in LA, that number is probably even lower. So that's a crazy little amount of houses out there to buy. So when supply goes down, prices appreciate. Like over the last year, CoreLogic said that the actual year-over-year change in price, so like from this December to last December, prices went up 7.3%. Now, the crazy thing is they're forecasting that appreciation is actually going to go up to 8.3% over the next year. So we're accelerating. It's not even a matter of the prices kind of just staying at this heightened level. They're going to keep going up. Now, the interesting thing is ironically, pending home sales are down. So you say, well, how does that work out? How could pending home sales be down if there's so much demand out there? Well, that's because there's not enough inventory. There's not enough houses to sell. So pending home sales are going down as well. So that means that there's even more demand out there. So the other thing that we need to start thinking about also in terms of the market and how buying a home, if you wait, is going to be potentially more expensive. Interest rates are probably going to start going up very soon. The The job report that just came out today was relatively positive. So economists are saying that the Fed will probably start raising rates. Now, there isn't a direct correlation between the Fed and mortgage rates, but we're probably going to see those start ticking up again too. Freddie Mac is projecting that, for a 30-year loan, right, what most people would be getting into, right, the rates will increase to about 4.6% by the end of next year. That's significant. Every single time that percentage goes up, that's going to cost you more money to get in. So it means that waiting may not be your best plan of action. Dr. Svenja Gudel, the chief economist for Zillow, says a renter who saves for another year to reach a larger down payment may find that the home they love today is outside their budget a year from now. For those considering buying in the next year, getting into the market today may make more financial sense than they think. So what does that mean? Well, at its heart, it's, what the good doctor is trying to tell us is that if you think that you're doing the right thing by getting a larger down payment and waiting, holding off, hoping against hope that prices are going to start to come down again, you're going to be sorely disappointed, and you could very well miss the train. You will not be able to jump on board. That's why even though these folks are asking me, hey, Tom, should I buy a house now? Or Tom, I think I'm going to wait, X, Y, or Z, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months to buy a house. I have to unfortunately tell them that might not be the best thing for them. They really should be considering getting into what they possibly can right now. Okay, that might be a lesser home, but at least you're getting on the property ladder. At least you're getting involved so that you can ride that appreciation up. And when that time comes where, yes, things are, markets are cyclical. They're going to eventually come back down again. But that being said, you're not going to miss out on all this appreciation. So you can use that to your advantage later. I can't, they say, well, I can't afford to buy. Well, historically, the percentage of income needed to afford the median rent used to be historically 25.8%. Now that's up to 29.1%. The percentage of income needed to afford the median home historically is 15.8%. Now that's nationally, so it's going to be a bit different, here in California. But think about it. That's significant. How different that is. It's going to cost you so much more to rent. You're also not flushing that money down the toilet every single month. That money is like a forced savings account for you. Each month, you're paying it to the bank in the form of your mortgage, but you're basically putting it back in your pocket. That's not like paying it to a landlord and you never see it again. Along those lines, Nadia Evangelou, a research economist for the National Association of Realtors, says, home prices affect the wealth of homeowners. As the price of housing increases, the wealth of homeowners increases as well. 75 million homeowners each gained $18,500 on average from a year earlier. I mean, that's money in your pocket. So that's why I'm saying you have to know your own finances. You got to know it. I'm not out there trying to, say, hey, waka, 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 get out there and buy. I'm saying know what you can do. And if you are at a point where you can buy something, it may make more sense to you to get on the property ladder. If you keep on waiting for what's perfect, it's not going to happen. I see it time and time again. Everybody waiting for all their ducks to be in a row. Well, let me tell you a little secret. All those ducks are not going to get in a row. It's just not going to happen. And if you do that, you're going to push and push and push and keep pushing this dream away. It's going to make sure that your dream has no chance of ever happening. I think that we're philosophically running into a world of haves and have-nots, and it's only getting worse. We're going to have a world where there's going to be a small group of people who have property. They're the owners. They are the people who own everything and rent to everybody else. And then there's going to be the other side of that coin where there's people just draining their pocketbooks once a month. And I really hope that you're going to make the decision to be on the other side of that coin, that you are going to be one of the haves, that you're going to be one of those folks that at the end of the day, at the end of the period that you've owned your house, you've got more to show for it than you did when you started. That's only can happen if you get on board. It's not going to happen if you're just sitting on the sidelines and you're just hoping that, that somehow this market is going to magically change. It's not going to change, at least not into the near future. And I have friends who are talking. I had a friend who would literally the other day said to me, well, we're in the middle of a bubble. No, we're not. And I've told you guys that on this podcast. I will be the first to tell you if we start to get into some sort of bubble. We're not in any kind of bubble right now. If you look at historical levels of home prices, we're right on track. We're not crazy overpriced. The problem during the crash was that the prices didn't match the amount of inventory that was out there. There was a glut of inventory from people who were selling their homes, trying to take advantage of it, of the big, the high price and appreciation. And there was also all this new home construction. So there was a glut. The prices didn't reflect what was actually happening in the market. And then add on top of that anybody with, that literally could breathe could get a loan. They didn't have to justify that they could pay for it. That's what created the crash. That's what created that bubble. It wasn't supportable. And Freddie Mac is on my side too. Freddie Mac is saying the evidence indicates there currently is no house price bubble in the U.S., despite the rapid increase of house prices over the last 5 years. And Danielle Hale, the chief economist for Realtor.com, agrees with me. She says, as we compare today's market dynamics to those of a decade ago, it's important to remember rising prices didn't cause the housing crash. It was raising prices stoked by subprime and low documentation mortgages, as well as people looking for short-term gains versus today's true market vitality that created the environment for a crash. Yes, there are markets now that are frothy, quote unquote frothy, because people don't want to say the B word. Okay, that's fine. Frothy doesn't mean that it's not stable. It just means that, yes, there's a lot more demand in this area. And so prices are starting to climb. But the inventory right now is reflecting that. How is that going to change? There's only a certain number of ways that I can think of that's going to change. The first off is if the boomers finally sell their houses. If they finally say, you know what? It's time for me to finally get into my retirement home. I'm going to downsize. Then we might start to see some more inventory start to come back on the market. But that's not a guarantee. They could possibly want to die in their houses. Because I'll tell you something else, because there's so little inventory, it's rough for them to find something that's worth downsizing too, right? Now, the other thing is that because we're starting to see this level of demand for millennials coming out and starting to buy, builders are starting to build again. That's good news. But that being said, in order for them to get their approvals, to get their permits, to get all their resources in line and all that, it's going to be years before there's enough inventory that it's going to make a difference in this market. That's years down the line. That's not tomorrow. I don't know if you've seen houses go up overnight. I haven't. It sure feels that way, but that's only because when you drive by it, you don't look over there and you say, oh, when you finally look over there in 5 to 10 months, you go, oh, that they got pretty far on that place. But it takes years for this amount of inventory to be built again. And there's one other option which I'm still watching, which is right now there's a group of HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, that are about to adjust to their normal price. That basically folks have been paying interest only for 10 years, and now they're about to adjust, and the people are going to have to start paying through the nose for them. That could cause a bunch of defaults, which then would create more inventory. I'm not seeing that yet, but that is a potential and a possibility. Well, okay, so now you're saying, well, Tom, I'd love to do that. I'd love to go and buy a house right now, but I don't have a down payment. or my FICO score is a lot lower than I'd like it to be. Look, those are true things. That might be things that keep you from possibly getting into a home, right? But have you checked to make sure that those things would actually keep you from getting into a home? And what do I mean by that? Well, look, down payments, everybody thinks that nowadays you need 20% in order to put down on a home. That's not true. There are plenty of loan programs out there, FHA and others, where it's you can get in for 3.5%. Have you done your homework? Have you contacted a lender to find out, is that true? That I only have 5% down. What can I do? If that's the case, if you have called and found out, okay, then that's one thing. But if you haven't even called to find out what your options are, that's on you. And if in terms of FICO scores, that's really fascinating, because you'd be surprised at what still might qualify you. In one recent month survey, a full 53.1% of buyers got approved and closed a loan with a FICO score between 600 and 750. That's a huge amount compared to what might be traditional, what you might traditionally think, with that you had to have a 750 to 800. That's more than half. More than half was able to get a loan with a FICO score, with just over 600. So you need to get out there and you need to actually check on these things. You need to be doing your homework. That's if you really want to buy a house. Now, listen, if you're using this as an excuse not to make a decision, well, that's up to you. That's your choice. But if you really truly want to buy a house, if you really want to be one of those folks who are the haves and not the have-nots, then you should know this information, and you should know not only what your FICO score is or what your down payment could be, but what can you get with it? Because I am telling my potential buyers right now that if you are thinking about waiting, that might not be the best choice for you. I think that you should be getting out there and finding out what you could potentially get into right now. Now is the time. I don't want to see you guys miss out on your chance. Well, that's about it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them for us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Clarified Realty Podcast, all one word. If you have any questions about real estate, or you're looking for someone to help you buy or sell a home, remember, I'm actually a licensed real estate agent. I'd love to help you out, so please email me directly at tom@clarifiedrealty.com, or give me a call at 818-335-7662. Don't be shy, give me a ring. For more exclusive bonus content and advice between episodes, please check out our website, www.clarifiedrealty.com. Also on our homepage, you'll find links to helpful buyer and seller guides that can give you some great information for starting your home buying or home seller process, so definitely check those out. Here's a new thing. We actually have an Alexa skill. So search the Alexa store for the Clarified Realty Podcast. Add our skill to your daily briefing and get a dose of real estate news and tips every day of the year. Definitely give it a try. It's pretty cool. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My handle for all three of those are @Clarified Realty. Please leave feedback and reviews on iTunes or in the comments section on our page. Together we are stronger, so if you have any questions or ways that we can make this podcast better, please comment and let us know. My amazing theme song, Hey Now, is from the band Wolf. That's Wolf with 2 Fs. And please go check them out and like them on SoundCloud. And just a little disclaimer, I'm licensed by the California Bureau of Real Estate. My license number is 01715353. The advice we give is only for properties located in the state of California. For all other states, please contact your local real estate agent or real estate professional. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. I hope you had a good listen, and we will be talking to you later. Remember, the greatest thing you can ever do is make someone feel at home. Take care. We'll see you next week.